Coming up on Mountain News this morning, 2 people are dead after a truck crashed into a propane tank in a home in Ohio. And investigators are using rapid DNA tech to identify some victims killed in last Friday's explosive plant in Tennessee.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning. Happy Friday to you, Mountain family. I'm Amelia Lee here on this October 17th. We are just about at 5 o'clock this morning, which means we're ready for a check of our weather with Megan Dusmal. And Megan, yesterday we were at Thursdays on the Grand, up way past our bedtime, but yes, nothing better to celebrate than WYMT.
Yeah, I definitely woke up a little tired this morning, but if you're in the same boat as us, if you walk outside, you will not be tired anymore because it is cold outside. That is my meteorological opinion. It is cold. We're talking 30s for some folks, 39 in Whitesburg, 35, very cold in Clintwood. Warmest temperatures for more of our southwestern counties, 54 right now in Monticello. But keep in mind, these temperatures are going to keep on getting cooler over the next couple hours. We're not going to see temperatures warming up until after the sunrise, which will be around 7:40-ish. Now, in terms of this afternoon, though, we are going to see a lot better temperatures, in my opinion. Low to mid 70s for most of the region, although we do have some upper 70s chances as you travel more towards the west. No surprise there, but we'll stay nice and dry for the day. Looking clear in terms of the skies this morning, but cloud cover will build throughout the next couple of hours, and we're going to still stay dry up until we go into Saturday night. We'll talk about that in just a couple minutes. But in terms of that 12-hour forecast, we're going to see those temperatures warming up. Mostly cloudy skies as we head into the late evening hours, but mostly sunny to start off your day. Amelia.
Thank you, Megan. 2 people are dead after a truck crashed into a propane tank in a home in Lawrence County, Ohio. That crash happened in Union Township last month. 1 person died at the scene when it originally happened, and that was Penny White. The Ohio State Highway Patrol says a second person from inside the home, that's Jayden Adkins, died to injuries from that night. Investigators are using rapid DNA tech to identify some of those victims killed in last Friday's explosives plant blast in Tennessee. Authorities identified 14 of 16 people killed at Accurate Energy Systems. Officials are using rapid DNA analysis, and it's a portable system that can develop a DNA profile from family samples in less than 2 hours without a lab. There were no survivors inside the facility. The cause of the blast is still under investigation. After his peace deal between Israel and Hamas, President Donald Trump is turning to Russia's war on Ukraine. Today, the president will host Ukraine's president at the White House. This after a phone call with Russia's leader yesterday led to that announcement that the two will hold another summit. CBS's Naomi Ruckham has more from New York.
Fresh off his big win securing a Middle East peace deal, President Trump now hopes to do the same for Ukraine and Russia.
We're going to get it stopped.
Today, President Trump meets with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The two are expected to discuss the president's lengthy phone call yesterday with Russian leader Vladimir Putin.
I thought it was a very good phone call. I thought very productive.
Afterwards, President Trump announced that he and Putin will hold a summit in Budapest, like the one the two had in Alaska back in August. So far, no date has been set, though the president says a U.S. delegation led by Secretary of State Marco Rubio will hold high-level talks with Russian officials next week to lay the groundwork. The White House says the president still hopes to get Putin and Zelensky in the room together eventually.
This war, he has always said, is going to have to end at the negotiating table.
With Russia launching more attacks ahead of today's meeting, Zelensky is expected to press the president to give Ukraine long-range Tomahawk missiles. The president says he asked Putin about that yesterday.
I did actually say, would you mind if I gave a couple of thousand Tomahawks to your opposition? I did say that to him. I said it just that way. He didn't like the idea.
The Kremlin says that giving Ukraine Tomahawks could damage prospects for a peaceful settlement. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Earlier this week, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was in Brussels to discuss weapons supplies to Ukraine with his NATO counterparts. During the trip, Hegseth and NATO Secretary General said firepower is coming and vowed the alliance are doing everything collectively to keep Ukraine strong. Today marks day 17 of the government shutdown with no end or compromise in sight. In the midst of a blame game in Washington, Americans who are employed by the federal government are feeling the impact of lost paychecks. At Beale Air Force Base outside Sacramento, a local nonprofit is asking local grocery stores to offer civilians and military members who are not getting paid or are uncertain about future paychecks. For now, law enforcement officers from the Department of Homeland Security and Border Patrol agents have been promised pay during the shutdown.
People got to pay the rent, they got to pay their car insurance and everything else that goes with it.
The chamber is set to reconvene Monday afternoon, meaning the shutdown will continue until at least October 20th, barring an unforeseen breakthrough nationwide. Another round of anti-Trump No Kings rallies are planned in American cities, encouraging citizens to speak out against the current administration. Kentucky Republican Senator Mitch McConnell fell yesterday in the Senate. It happened as he was on his way to vote. After getting back up, McConnell smiled and waved before walking off, holding onto his detail's arm. A statement sent to our newsroom from McConnell's office says the senator is, quote, all good. The Kentucky Supreme Court heard two cases yesterday regarding the separation of powers between the governor, constitutional officers, and the General Assembly. It comes after lower court rulings on cases regarding the makeup of the Executive Branch Ethics Commission and the State Fair Board and who can appoint its members. Our Phil Pendleton sat in on the arguments at the University of Kentucky Law School and tells us more about what was said before the court.
This court is now in session.
Lawyers for the Attorney General, who are also representing the other Republican constitutional office holders, argue that Governor Beshear should not have the power to appoint either all or the majority of members to various boards.
It is the Executive Branch Ethics Commission, not the Governor's Ethics Commission.
The issue comes before the Supreme Court after several laws passed by the General Assembly. In the case of the State Fair Board, lawmakers voted to give Ag Commissioner Jonathan Schell a say on who gets appointed. But the governor's office sued, and it made its way to the highest court.
Violates those express commands by making the Commissioner of Agriculture the supreme executive power over the State Fair Board.
The arguments heard today deal specifically with the Ethics Commission and the State Fair Board, but justices even said that it could have a precedent set that would possibly impact a total of 28 boards across the state of Kentucky. Governor Beshear spokesman Scotty Ellis released a statement after the argument saying Beshear should have every authority as every other governor before him, and the Attorney General's actions would render sections of the Constitution meaningless and take away voters' choices. Russell Coleman spoke with reporters after the arguments and said the governor doesn't like laws passed by the General Assembly.
Now, the governor has spent the last 5 years spending your tax dollars to fight these laws. The governor uses litigation, this governor uses litigation as a second veto.
Coleman says Governor Beshear wants to pack the Ethics Commission that has direct authority over its every action. The governor's lawyers say the General Assembly is preventing the governor from doing his job. In Lexington, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
The Supreme Court did not issue any rulings yesterday and typically takes several months to do that. Well, the nation's largest banks are reporting a big jump in profits from last year, but many Americans say they're struggling. According to a new survey by Primerica, about 69% of middle-income Americans say their income is falling behind the cost of living. That's up from 50% 5 years ago. CBS's business analyst Jill Schlesinger explains why many folks are feeling this pinch.
The cumulative effect of inflation, prices at the grocery store, prices for daycare, prices for housing, prices for healthcare, that is putting pressure on people. Even if you are lucky enough to have a retirement plan at work, that is for decades in the future.
The survey also found about half of Americans are increasingly using their rainy day emergency fund to make ends meet, with fewer people paying off their credit card balances month to month. Well, thank you so much for getting your day started with us on Mountain News this morning at 5:09. A gym with an epic obstacle course in Myrtle Beach is not just about gaining muscle. We'll take you there next.
And as we're heading into the weekend, we're looking at chances for some storms.